Hello, family. Greetings and salutations. I hope you made it safely through that very long night. If you saw my webcast yesterday, I said I was going to stay up all night and watch the sunrise. I did stay up all night. So what did I do with all that time, right? I'll tell you. What I did was I I I started writing down the people I love, and I wrote down what I loved about them and what I wanted for them in the coming future. My dearest friends and my family. And even some people who I don't get along with, but that I still love, yeah, I send them love. And I send them good juju, to speak of. Tonight is a full moon. That full moon is going to be, drum roll please, it will be at its fullest at 10:52 this evening. Now if you think the moon doesn't have an effect on people, I want you to consider how the moon controls the tides. And if you go into any ER, they will tell you on full moons, there is always more people who come in with injuries. The police will tell you there's more chaos. We're at a different level at that point. It's what it is. The sun affects us, the moon affects us. Actually, for everybody who poo-poos astrology, all of the planets have an effect on us. They have an effect on our planet. So, when you consider that, there's a reason why we are affected. It has to do with magnetation, but mostly vibration. And I'm going to go into vibration on another day. But today is the second half of my introduction. Today I'm going to tell you some stories, which I swear to be completely true and honest. Now, as I had mentioned, I knew spirit when I was very young. See, I do what I want. All children can see spirit. As we get older, we stop seeing spirit. Why is that? Part of it is because it's trained out of us. We're told that it's not there, it's not real. And children can be afraid of ghosts, and that can be part of it. There are evil entities on this plane. Do not doubt that for a moment. And I will go more into that later also. But as a child, I often saw that I had these friends that other people didn't seem to see. And I didn't really say anything because I had enough issues going on with my mother being ill and problems in school. Last thing I needed was for people to think I was loony. And that it has been a fear of mine for a long time. That, and that I was raised Catholic. Being raised Catholic, you grow up in this certain situation and you learn your religion, and some of my family have very strong attitudes about their religions, and I was very much afraid that I would be shunned by my family. At this point, I've been called by the universe, and Anybody who doesn't accept that, they're the ones who are going to have to deal with it, because for me, I just, it's just, this is who I am, and I can't change that. I can't change it. And because I'm being called by Spirit to give you guidance and to try and show some wisdom, I will tell you, part of last night, along with me sending good wishes and love to the people who I care about, I spent time writing down, making lists of all of the books that I have read within the last 2 years, and I found out it was 158. And I think there's still some more that I actually don't even have right now. I was pushed into this. But let me go further back. The first time I had an inkling that I was very different was when one of my friends, I'll say a first name, but I won't include last names. My friend Sandy took me to visit when she went to visit her boyfriend. And it turned out his mother was a psychic, and she worked with a lot of people, some celebrities. She was well known within the psychic community, and she was kind enough to talk to us. When she held the dowsing rods to me, they went wacko. And she told me I had many, many angels around me. And I mean, you have to wonder, why do I have all these angels around me? Okay. I kind of poo-pooed it. Okay, well, it's nice to know. Somebody's looking out for me. And I'll tell you, I really needed all of them. We all have lots of angels we can call upon, but in my youth, and I'm talking about when I was about 16, right? I visited my friend Shirley, and she told me this. And then she did my reading, she did my chart, and she told me I would be very spiritual when I got older. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, not me, right? I cannot imagine myself as a Bible thumper or being so involved with religion or anything like that. I did not consider spirituality to be in spirit the way I am. Now, 30 years later, I contacted her. Excuse me. She is now my earth guide. That's what I call her. She imparts knowledge to me. When I have questions about something, I can call her and discuss things. And that in itself is really impressive. So that's about 16. 17 and 18. My friends and I went to a bar, of course illegally. We were dancing and having a good old time that night. I had left my purse in my car because I didn't need it. I just carried my money in my bra. Didn't need ID because the supposed friend of mine, her boyfriend owned the bar. Okay, at the end of the night, as I was leaving the bar, I was kidnapped by 3 men. I was sitting in the back seat, and they were Arabic, and they were speaking in Arabic, which I did not understand. The two in the front were talking. Then they would talk to the guy sitting next to me. And I'm like, can you please just take me to my car? I just want to go to my car. Okay? Well, I saw them keep going. And they turned onto the expressway and started heading toward downtown Detroit. As we were on the expressway, all of a sudden I saw this image in my mind of my parents finding a news article about me or having the police contact them about finding my naked body in an alley in Detroit. I knew it to be true. My life flashed before my eyes. It's happened on a couple occasions. If anybody has had a time when there's has something shocking happen to them, then you would understand, because it really does happen. Now, I decided if I am going to die, it's going to be on my terms, not theirs. So I grabbed the handle of the car door and I opened it up as we're going 70 down the expressway. Kicked my legs out, and I was prepared to just jump out of that car. Completely prepared. So the guys start screaming, blah, blah, blah. You know, I couldn't tell what they were saying. The guy in the front, but he slapped me, and I kept my legs sticking out that door. He ripped my necklace off. They pulled over to the side of the expressway, and I jumped out. Started running, and I thought, holy crap, I need their license plate number. So I started running after them. Now, what happened was they were so fast to get out of there, and I'm sure they probably thought I was looking for that they were gone. And here I am on the expressway headed toward Detroit in a dress that they had ripped, that was tore up. I was disheveled and very frightened. I knew if I went up on the side that I would be in danger, because I'm in downtown Detroit, halfway, I'd say, to Detroit. So I did what I felt was more logical. There weren't any cars. It's like 3 or 4 in the morning. I ran across and jumped the median, went to the other side. I pulled my shoes off and started running down the side of the expressway barefoot in a ripped dress. And I ran over broken glass and everything that was on the ground. And it was just sheer adrenaline. I kept going until I got so exhausted that I had to stop. I saw this car coming, and it pulled over in front of me, and I was very frightened. I didn't know what was going on, and I slowly went up to the car, and there was an elderly gentleman there. He said, "My dear, what's wrong?" And I explained to him in tears what had happened, and he took me to the bar where my supposed friend was. I was livid. I was ready to kill her. Now, as I was going toward her, because I was going to pound her freaking butt, the bouncer grabbed me, took me outside. He said, "Let me take you to your car." I was just so exhausted. There were so many emotions going through my head. So I went to my car and I drove home. And I was still just adrenaline crazy. And so I went out on the front porch and I was smoking a cigarette. And this car's coming down the road and it stops in front of my house. I'm like, what now? It turned out it was my friend Gary. He couldn't have come at a better time. This is the synchronicity I'm talking about that happens in life. He came in and he talked to me and he got me settled down. And then this became part of how blessed I am that I survived that. Another occasion, I went out on a date with this guy who was the lead singer of a band. And my friends had hooked me up with him. And so, we were talking, and he was kind of quiet, but that's all right. I can deal with that. And so afterwards, after we had dinner, we went to this park that was nearby my house, and we were sitting on the swings, and we happened to, well, smoke a joint. And all of a sudden, I got this strong feeling in my guts, in my belly. Something was freaking wrong. So I said, I want you to take me home right now. He's like, what's wrong? I said, I want you to take me home right now. We got in the car. He drove me over to my parents' house, my house at the time. I jumped out of that car and I ran into that house. I didn't even close the car door, but I slammed that front door. Like, I don't know what this is, but I don't like it and it scares me. Not 3 days later, there was an elderly woman who was stabbed to death. I mean, stabbed outrageously. It was 60 times. It was crazy. And they had interviewed all of these different people. Well, this guy I was out on this date with, his story didn't mesh. The police figured it out, and it turned out he had broken into her window to steal her purse, which had a total of $7 in it. She came down because she heard a noise. It startled him, and he just started stabbing her. Whew. It was like either a premonition, which I do have premonitions, which are anywhere from 3 days to a month. And that was what it was. I either felt something was going to happen, or I felt him being just not right. So I even have the news articles from it. I tell people some of the stories of the things that have happened in my life, and I feel like they don't believe me because they're really crazy. I mean, seriously. Okay. Later, I had moved to Florida, and I was living next door to one of my very, very dearest friends. We had what is called a very strong cord attachment. Now, in the Native American culture, there is the web where we are all attached to. And when we meet someone, and if we are family, we attach a cord to them. That's why you might think of somebody in the call because you're attached to them. Well, I had gone to lunch with a friend of mine, and we're sitting there, we're just laughing. I had done a cartoon for a biker magazine, and a DJ was talking about it, and I was feeling, a little odd because he didn't like what I had done. And so I just kind of, we had a beer, we ordered some lunch, and all of a sudden I just felt this overwhelming feeling. I had to lay down on the bench. So I lay down and I just kind of tried to grasp hold of myself. All right, it passed. Well, when I got home and I talked to my friend, it had turned out someone she loved very much had OD'd. And because my cord attachment was so strong with her, when she had found out, I felt it. I felt it. Now, this stuff has been happening to me. They were these things throughout my life. I tried to push them off. I tried to drink them away. I tried to drug them away. I did not like being an empath. I did not know I was an empath. But when you're pulling in feelings from other people, sometimes you're not sure. Now that I've learned the feelings that other people have and my intuition. I can decipher now what is mine and what is someone else's. Although there are times if I get a feeling, I have to ask myself, okay, where is this feeling coming from? Why am I actually feeling this way? Okay, so I get into the military. I come to Pennsylvania. I end up divorcing my second husband and I married my third. We were together for 7 years and I had this dream. I dreamt I was holding this little baby girl. She was perfect and her name was Rachel. When I got up the next morning, I told my husband about it. He said, it's just a dream. Okay, if you say so. Well, a couple months later, I found out I was pregnant at a ripe old age. I was much older. My children are 10 years apart. When I went in for my ultrasound, I told the lady what happened. And she said, do you want to know if it's a boy or a girl? I said, I know it's a girl. Her name is Rachel. And it turned out that same night I had my dream, my husband had the same dream. He didn't want to tell me because he didn't want me to be baby crazy. But he had the same dream. Dreams can be very prophetic. I have very prophetic dreams. Now I lucid dream. Since I have had my Kundalini awakening, everything has changed with me, and I'm going to explain to you later what that is. But I understand. She was telling me she's coming in the world. She's coming to me, and it happened. And she's been pretty awesome. She's an awesome kid, although bullheaded. Sometimes a pain in the butt and doesn't want to listen, but that's the way it is. My third ex-husband and I used to go on these ghost adventures in Gettysburg, okay? Now, it all seemed fun. It seems fun, right? Oh, let's go ghost hunting. Yeah, well, it turns out I'm a magnet for ghosts. Now, at the time, I did not know how to handle this. We went into an orphanage where the matron of the orphanage murdered many of the children who were there. And I had long hair, and as we were there, they turned out the lights, and I noticed somebody playing with my hair. And then on this side, but I wasn't afraid. I did not feel a negative entity because I'm an empath. So I noticed everybody's taking pictures of me because I was surrounded by these orbs. These children felt me to be a motherly influence, and they were just playing with me like kids do. Now, unfortunately, we went to spend the night at a B&B in Gettysburg one night. And it was supposed to be very haunted. It's called the Farnsworth House. And it is extremely haunted. Now, we didn't see a lot happening at first, except all the lights were off in our room. And when we went back to, all the lights were on. Maybe we left them on. We can always take these things and make sense out of them in our minds, right? Well, we went to bed, and he fell right asleep because this man sleeps like a log, okay? Me, I was uneasy. I felt something really uncomfortable. So I actually pulled out Gideon's Bible, and I was reading the Bible. And I read it through, passages, and I went through different places, and I was reading it most of the night. which might have actually saved me from a very bad thing. So it's about 3 or 4 in the morning. I say, you know what? I'm just going to take a shower. Now, there was just a curtain in between the bathroom and the bedroom because this is a very old house. I mean, Lincoln walked, had a procession down the street in front of this building. A little boy died in the room we were in, and they said that they often would see toys moving and things happening. That wasn't an entity I was afraid of. As I'm in the shower, the water's nice and warm, and I'm feeling pretty good. And then I felt this coldness. I'm like, oh, this place must be drafty, right? Okay. And I see my husband. He walks up. I can see him through the curtain on the shower. And I just said, hey, can you please hand me the washcloth that's on the sink? I forgot it. No, nobody handed me a washcloth. I'm like, excuse me, would you mind? I know you got to pee, but can you hand me the washcloth? And I heard from the other room, who are you talking to? I looked over. The figure was there, and he was moving it. I opened it up, and there's my husband, click, 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 taking these pictures. He's in the bed now. I was terrified. Now would be different. I would not be as scared as I was back then. So I jumped out all wet and I ran into the other room because I could not believe that I had an entity watching me take a shower. When I told one of the people who worked there, he said, come on now, he hasn't seen a naked woman in like years and years. Give the guy a break. Seriously. Well, after that experience, when I went back to the house, it was a different house I was living in before my husband, strange things started happening because this entity had attached itself to me. And it was not a good entity. I had doors slamming. They'd open in front of me. Things were moving in front of me. I'd put something down, it'd vanish, and I'd find it someplace completely different. Not a good thing. Fortunately, I moved out of that house a little later, and he stayed there. So I do not envy the people who stay there because he is not a nice entity. I personally feel very sorry for ghosts because for whatever reason, they haven't been able to move on. And I find it very sad that people use them as pets or whatever to allure people into their bars or whatever, where someone should help these people to move on. They need to move on. Often these are people who are murdered, who commit suicide. Something traumatic happened where their spirit, their body died, but their spirit could not move forward. Sometimes these spirits, they like living so much. They like drinking. They like doing drugs, and they like sex. They are so attached to these feelings that when they die, they don't want to move on. So they'll try and attach to someone who's alive to try and get those feelings, but they can't feel those feelings. These people, these entities need help to move on. They do. So I realized my spiritual ability when I went to a healing circle. I have so many stories. I was at a healing circle. This is where several psychics get together and we put a circle around someone who might be ill. And we hold our hands a certain way. We allow the energy, this electricity, this vibration to run through us. And Okay, I had been studying, but I never felt anything like that. We draw an energy with our left hands and we release with our right, which is why I always try to keep protection stones on my left hand rather, so that I do not draw in any negativity because I don't want to put that on anyone. By the time we were done with this, I was like staticky, static. I mean, electricity. It was just, I could feel it in my hands and it hurt. I had to ground myself. So I actually went outside. And luckily it was a nice day. I stood in the grass and it was so powerful. I laid down in the grass and I released all that energy back into the earth. I was thankful for that. But I realized how much was truly inside of me. And it's inside of you too. We all are psychic. It's part of our fight or flight. Okay? We all have this. But most people deny it. Another thing is when I see entities and angels and spiritual beings, I don't look directly at them. I see them out of the corners in my peripheral vision. Many times, you won't see them if you try to look directly at them. Well, here I am. I was in my apartment. I was by myself this one day, and I saw death. Not once. On this one day. Now, I wasn't afraid. I knew death wasn't there for me. But it was an omen. And then not 3 days later, I saw the same thing again. I thought, why is death coming to me? Because you don't realize things until you look back in retrospect. In the beginning. A month later, my father died and my brother died on the same day. Now, I will tell you what I have learned. That when I saw death, it was not an actual entity. It was, but it wasn't death. Death is a part of nature. Nature is neither good nor evil. Nature is nature. What I saw was my spirit. Spirits do not speak to you per se. Not the majority of the time. I mean, I know there have been occasions, but to what I have experienced, spirit shows me in images. I see images. I can see them with my eyes open. And then I know what had happened was my spirit made itself look like the figure of death so that I would know I had an inkling of something that was going to happen. The same thing happened to me just a few months ago. It looked different. It didn't look like the first images I saw. They looked like a kind of a short woman in an all black mourning robe. This was a very tall one, kind of in a suit, not really a shadow being. This was death, and I knew it. And I told my friend, as a matter of fact, I saw death. She said, oh my God, is it someone in my family? I said, no, it's someone in mine, and it's more than one. There will be 3. My uncle died just a month later. And not long ago, I lost a sister-in-law just within the last 2 weeks. And I know, I feel within the next 3 months, I'm going to lose someone else in my life. Now, spirit comes to you in different ways. And I will explain this to you on another day. Because That was a lot. And I don't try to go over 30 minutes, and I've been 34 minutes. And thank you for joining me today, whoever you are. And I hope whoever watches this video in the future gets an idea of who I am. I welcome you to send any questions you might have to sherrypie568@gmail.com. I do readings. I work with various tools, and we can do them over the phone, although I do better in person. I will get a clearer reading in person. So, yeah, craziness. That was like, this kind of stuff happens all the time. And now when I see synchronicity, you know, everything happens for a reason. Trust me, the universe is perfect. You don't realize something happens for a reason until later on, in retrospect, you realize why it happened. And when you get to know your entities, they help you if you ask them. All you have to do is ask them. I was wearing my black pearls earrings yesterday. I lost one. It's a stud that big. I searched through the floor. I looked everywhere. This is the last part of my story, and I'm going to let you go. So this is just this morning. I'm searching. And so I called to my runners. They're a form of angel. I said, excuse me, my runners? I lost this earring. My son brought it to me when he returned from deployment. Can you please help me find it? I couldn't find it. Yet, when I just got out of the shower, I stepped on it. Okay, now you can say coincidence? Coincidence? No. No. So, I want to thank you for joining me. And I wish you to please, on the night of a full moon, it's a good night to release things that you want out of your life. And then think of something else that you want in your life. And this is going to be a strong one because we just got through the winter solstice yesterday. Winter solstice yesterday, full moon today. This is going to be, 2019 is going to be a seriously crazy year. And that is why I am here. I am here to give guidance and wisdom. I know quite a bit. I'm not bragging. I have studied so hard. And I will explain more of that on another day. But I mean, I don't know a lot of people who read 158 books in 2 years, right? Plus, 158 plus. So anyways, I am happy, all right? I'm thankful for my gifts. And I thank the universe for letting me breathe again today, and to feel and to taste, and for all of my senses, and for me to be able to feel these subtleties in the vibrations of our universe, which you are part of too. I love you. I love people. When I look at them wherever I look now, I don't see like bodies. I see souls. I see auras. And I love them all. I do. I love everybody. And that's the way, when you learn enough, you would feel the same way. And if you can do this, and we spread this throughout the web, we're going to make it. Because we got 2 ways to go. Extinction, because we're destroying our planet, or we come together and we can live the next 2,000 years in peace. We can work together. Fuck war, okay? Let's take care of our planet. that's what we're meant to do. Take care of our planet. Take care of each other. I am the light, which is in my belly. You are the light, and I see you. And we, the whole planet, is a light. And as we talk, I see the earth glowing, and every day I see it get brighter when I say this prayer. So I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope you will come and see me tomorrow. I'm trying to get a regular time set out. I'm aiming for between 5 and 7, but it's difficult because I am a mom and I do have stuff. But I'm trying to find a time that will work. If anybody has any opinion of what a good time would be for me to have my webcast, hey, please let me know. Send me a message on my YouTube. Okay? Awesome. You are great. Go out there in the world and be happy and laugh, because your life will be so much better if you don't take things quite so serious. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.